Okay, let's get started. Hi everyone. Today is April 22nd, 2020. And in this series, number 4, I'm going to try to elucidate the origin of COVID-19 with you guys. Some of you may be looking forward to this series for a little while. And sorry about the wait. Frankly speaking, I could have recorded this video a while ago, but I was a little bit hesitating because first of all, this is really important. As a scientist, I want to make sure every logical reasoning is making sense and reliable. And another reason is I don't want to cause people to panic or lose their focus on how to prevent the spreading of the virus. But I think everybody's doing really good right now, and I think it's the best time right now, and hopefully not too late, to review about the fact and truth happened in the early days of COVID-19, and from the news and also the scientific publications, hopefully we can review the truth that may be hid by the CCP. I call it probably a CCP recombined virus because there's not 100% evidence yet, but it's very probable. And hopefully by end of this video, you will see about the logical chain and how we derive all these conclusions. And yeah, like I said, I will try my best because first of all, I'm not a biologist, I'm not a virology expert, but I can still use my common sense and logical reasoning to derive all these summary. So I will use both from scientific papers and also just regular news that reported by CCP and some other media, and you can see how these virus was created, possibly. And some of the information actually maybe attribute to the gnews.org, as I mentioned in my previous videos. It was founded by some decent Chinese or American Chinese. They're trying to help people and try to tell the truth, share the truth with everyone about the CCP's lies and what they've been doing to Chinese people and people all over the world. I'm gonna go through. This actually looks pretty beautiful. I think I got it from the CDC. I forgot to add the citation source, but it's from the CDC, and Google it, and basically showing the structure of this unique virus. The name of the coronavirus is because this type of virus is covered by a lot of spikes, and these are spike proteins with I forgot the concentration or density, but it's a lot on the surfaces. They're extruded out of the surface, which make them more facile to act as a key to enter into the human body cell. And besides that, it's got an envelope, and it contains some membrane proteins or envelope proteins and a bunch of the lipid surrounding the inside RNA, which is the core information in this virus. Hopefully remember this, and when we go to the scientific part, and you will see a lot of terms about S protein, which is spike protein, or E protein, and other some kind of RNA protein, RNA and other proteins as well. But let's start with some of the CCP lies on the media, so it's easier to understand what's going on. And we're gradually getting into the more difficult, deeper part of this conversation. So let's go back to December, maybe January, in Wuhan, China. What happened when this outbreak happened? As the CCP, they claim the origin of this COVID-19 was from a wet market in Wuhan, and they ascribe it possibly to a bat or maybe some other wild animals that was sold in this wet market, like pangolin. They even try to ascribe it to a snake, but there's no evidence that this virus was passed from a wild animal through a natural mutation way. I mean, when you understand that, the more rational way to do is you should start investigating the origin, right? If you're not a criminal, you should be more transparent and open because it doesn't matter. It's a natural origin and nobody will blame you. You should immediately start an investigation because it not only helps to exclude the possibly criminal of yourself, right? And also will help developing drugs and vaccines to save more people's life. But they didn't do it. So instead of investigating, they immediately closed the wet market and sanitized the whole wet market for almost a month, for at least 3 times in February. And people believe that most of the evidence was destroyed. And another weird thing is that there is a Wuhan Institute of Virology P4 lab located just miles away from this web supermarket. And right before the WHO had a visit to Wuhan to investigate what happened during the early days, a CCP general, I don't know if she's a doctor, let's call her Dr. Chen Wei, they took charge of that lab and shut it down for a couple of weeks. And after that, I don't know what happened, but a lot of people were silenced. And as of right now, we still don't know whether this lab is open or they're permanently closed. But meanwhile, the CCP is also trying to confuse people using their propaganda, both in China and overseas, to spread the rumor about the coronavirus origin. They even blame the U.S. As possibly sources to brought this virus to China as early as October in that military war games in Wuhan. And you can see that on this Twitter, even the Ministry of the Foreign Affairs speakers, they officially tweeted this rumor and tried to attack U.S. But there's a very bad logic flaw here. Is, just take current situation as an example. Even the whole world, including U.S., have been taking a very stringent lockdown procedure, or at least an emergency state in almost all states. In the last 1 to 2 months, over 2 million people were infected with almost 200,000 deaths. If that happened a long time ago in last October, at that time, U.S. didn't took any action at all. If originate in U.S., I think as of right now, we're probably seeing hundreds of millions, maybe even billions of people were infected, considering the rapid transmission of this virus. So, logically, this is flawed. Basically, any city that is first locked down is most likely is the origin of this virus, because considering the large transmission rate, it gotta be spread out really quickly locally before transmitting to other places. So that's the common sense. I'm not gonna say it's 100% the case, but it's extremely low possible chance. So let's see what they're doing. This is just one evidence. Every evidence you can see that the probability, but when you connect everything together, you will see the big pictures later on. So when talking about the military war games in Wuhan back in October, and shockingly, if you search the news on the Hubei government website, actually, it has been banned. It's not deleted yet. You can still find it as of today. And the CCP already knew about the they called novel coronavirus back in September. If you watch the news, this news was published in September 26th, 2019. And even they claimed that September 18th, they had an emergency maneuver and practice about they found one case of novel coronavirus in the airport. And they rehearsed about that. I'm like, how come you already knew that there is already spreading of a novel coronavirus back in September 2019, at least 2 months before the first case was discovered? And you already have actions, emergency actions. It doesn't make sense, because I never heard of any other people talking about the spread of novel coronavirus at that time. So it's very suspicious. Not just that, even people, just very smart people, they're very good at digging. They even digging the CCTV's news back in April 2018. The news reported a scientific breakthrough. They said that scientists discovered a novel coronavirus. It may be used as a bioweapon. I don't know what that means. If you just see an independent of each case, it probably means nothing or very little. But when you connect everything together, connecting all the dots, things become really suspicious and scary. But anyway, what I want to show you that is CCP does have a long history of studying coronavirus. Let's look at the epicenter of Wuhan, city of Wuhan, located in the right center of China. It's very fast transportation to almost every kind of city in China and even internationally. So there's an Institute of Virology, P4 Lab, which was built with a joint built by French and China. And there is a very famous researcher. Her name is Shizheng Li. She has over 2 decades of experience studying the coronavirus. She's probably the #1 expert in China, maybe even in the world, about the mechanism of the coronavirus, about fighting bat-like virus. And she actually published many very good papers on the top journal, including Nature, Science, and very, very good. She even discovered the origin of the SARS happened back in 2003 of a bat somewhere in Yunnan, I think. So, and this is just a short list of her representative publication. She and her group have a long listing about this coronavirus. I'll give you a few examples in the next few slides about some key discoveries in her research. Let's see what's going on. So, sometimes you watch the news. I don't know, the newspapers or reporters, even scientists, they say that, yeah, it cannot be man-made because, China, they're #2 economy, but their science probably not as advanced as US or other part of the world. They don't have the capability. But if you look at the published paper by Shizheng Li's group back in even 2015 and 2018 later, they do have the capability, either through collaboration with external institute or they did it by their own. But they have done many things. So in this paper, it was reported a SARS-like cluster of bad coronavirus that shows a potential for human emergence. But remember that they discovered long time ago a natural bad coronavirus cannot directly transmit to human. So either it has to go through a natural mutation or artificial mutation somehow to activate the S proteins. Remember the spikes outside this virus cell. And then finally this virus can become contagious to people. So in this paper, they talk about using a reverse genetic techniques to produce a recombined virus by inserting some special protein sequences into the coronavirus spikes protein. So basically by manipulating some special protein sequence segments, you can activate this coronavirus and make it to infect humans. And basically they said that, they use this coronavirus reverse genetic systems. They generate they call it chimeric virus because it didn't exist in this world. They artificially created or recombine two type of one virus maybe with some other virus segments into a unique that doesn't exist in this world. But this one does show it can replicate efficiently in primary human airway cells, lungs or something, and it causes epidemic strain. So, and also they mentioned the mechanism is it interact with a SARS receptor, a human angiotensin converting enzymes, ACE2, Basically, that's an enzyme system to control the open of our cell membrane to accept any other things. So basically, the spike proteins can disguise themselves and trick your body cells. Said, oh yeah, please open your membrane, accept me, because I'm inert, or I'm harmless, but actually it's a virus. So this is the breakthrough of her research in this field. Not only that, so just recent this year, there was a bunch of scientific argument or debate about the origin of this bat coronavirus. So the Xingli's group report that they have found back a few years ago in Yunnan, south of China, they found bats in some bat caves, and this virus has almost 96% of similarity in whole genome level to that the COVID-19. So basically, they claim that, oh, this is likely the origin of the COVID-19, and this virus somehow mutated in a natural way and then get transmitted into human beings. So you can see that, yeah, they say the sequence was almost identical, and it's a SARS-like, the SARS level 1 back in 2003, but that SARS only have almost 80% of similarity, but this virus has a 96% to this coronavirus COVID-19, and they use the same ACE2 mechanisms to attack human body cell and start replication. But I want to notice one thing, is even Shi Jingli tried to claim that this is the most similar virus, but doesn't mean this one is the origin of the coronavirus 19. I will show you later why, because this paper was actually submitted later than two other important papers which also reported similarity of that virus to COVID-19, which is not Shi Jingli's virus. And I don't know why she published like 2 weeks later, trying to claim, oh, my virus is actually matching. So it's my virus, it's not your virus. I don't know why she wants the credit. Is it because her technology can recombine and she knows how to do it with her reverse genetic whatever techniques? I'm not an expert in those, but I just try to use common sense and logical reasoning to do this. Those are the expert. They can, I don't want to use synthesize, but they can man-made or modify virus somehow using their technique in their lab. So actually this was done very, very shortly after the coronavirus outbreak in Wuhan, and the paper was actually published. There are two papers. They all discuss the same origin or the same similarity of the COVID-19 connecting to a Zhoushan bat virus, not Shi Jingli's Yunnan bat virus. And this paper was received as early as January 7th, because if you know the news, and the Chinese government, the CCP, didn't tell the public the human-to-human transmission and the widespread in Wuhan until January 21st or 20th, somewhere there. So it's like 2 weeks early. So scientists started to warn the public, some decent people. I think they're honest, they're smart, and they're very decent and kind. So we're trying to warn the public and also the scientific field, other scientists, about the possible origin and how dangerous it is. Let's see what's their findings. And both of them have reported almost the same thing. And by the way, there's a very good NIH tools is supposedly the morale of this virus research is that if you discover any kind of virus, you should submit it, the genome analysis into this gene bank database, and people can access it understand it and do some computational or other scientific analysis, they can use it to, actually I don't know how to use it, but some other people knows how to do it. So I learned from them is using a BLAST, a basic local alignment search tool. You can find the regions of similarity between different viruses. You can see whether they're mutated or they're somehow related, or the origin of different groups. Are they sharing the same mechanisms, same protein sequences, etc.? Very, very complicated. And you can even calculate the statistical significance because there are hundreds, thousands of protein pieces in each the virus, and it's very complicated to do so analysis. But the most important finding in these two papers are that this Zhoushan bat virus has a very high similarity to the COVID-19 as compared to the SARS generation 1 in 2003 as a control, only have a 79% of similarity. But this bat virus has almost 88% similarity. Not only just that, there is one key factor here, and it's amazing. It's hard to believe, but they found it. You look at the significant figures, 100.0% matching envelope protein, which is on the core of this coronavirus, just underneath the spikes. What does that mean? 100%, 0.0, and it's significant. So which means it's very likely that COVID-19 is a genetically somehow mutated, but it's hard to do the natural way because natural mutation always goes random. If envelope protein mutates, spikes also mutate. So everything should mutate in a relatively consistent trend. So this means that the envelope protein doesn't mutate at all, but the spike protein changes more than 20%, and so as other RNA structure and some other proteins as well. But the most critical key in this coronavirus is actually in the spike. As I mentioned in the previous Zheng Li's paper, without modifying or inserting or replacing with certain effective active protein segments, the coronavirus is not contagious to humans. It doesn't infect people. Only when you add it to a certain group of active protein insert, and then it becomes infective. So this highlight here, 100.0. Remember, it's not 100%. People familiar with the significant figures. This is not 100%. 100% could be plus minus 1, plus minus 2, but 100.0%, that means your significant figures is on the digits after the decimal. So that's very, very important. And people may wonder, actually I wondered, like, what is this Zhoushan bat virus? Who found it? Where is it? You can tell from the name that Zhoushan is a city in Zhejiang, which is on the east side of China, about 100 miles south of Shanghai. And how it was discovered? This Zhoushan bat virus was actually discovered by a CCP military lab in Nanjing back in 2018. And in that paper, they reported that they found some bat, and this one has a very, very deadly nature. It can somehow, they didn't report the infection of humans, but it said this virus actually can infect rat. So they see some severe difference between the SARS #1 generation and this coronavirus, especially about the S protein region. See that S protein is the key. The S protein actually can cause infections in rats. And what does it do? There is a TEM, transmission electron microscope, showing the corona structure, the spikes, everything. And if interestingly find out that this one can infect rat brain tissues. I don't remember there was report about the SARS coronavirus can infect brain. So this special S protein, even without recombination, it's actually a very unique. So there's a lot of details I didn't understand, so I just share something I knew. And you can see that this virus is already very deadly and potentially is the source, or at least the very likely the region of the origin of this COVID-19. And remember this brain infection. So, everybody, if you watch the news, there's so many explosive information about how deadly it is and how weird this virus is. And I call it, if you look at it, it's almost nearly a perfect virus in terms of that is it can infect like regular flu. People call it big flu. I don't want to mention the name. A lot of people mention, oh, it's just a flu. It's not a flu. Because the flu normally only attacked your lung, your respiratory system. But this virus actually can get into your body. First of all, of course, it's a SARS, so it will attack your lung. And people later on find that the virus can replicate in liver, kidney, intestines, brains, eyes, noses, heart, and even it would damage your T cells, which is very important to your immune system. I will talk about something later on. And also it caused the cytokine storm because of the immune system inhibition, whatever. And it's got a rapid transmission through droplets and aerosol. Very large R naught number, meaning it's a very fast transmission. At least 1 to 2 or more people are infected. And asymptomatic transmission, which is perfect for spreading of the virus. Remember, there is a game about what's the name? I forgot. The pandemic something, how to make this world all infected and kill everyone. The asymptomatic transmission virus is the top level of the top level, because you can't tell. You may get infected without even knowing, because you cannot tell who is the carrier. That's the very scary part. It dramatically increasing the transmission rate. And another deep thinking, there are not many viruses can have this characteristic. The well-known popular asymptomatic viruses are HIV, hepatitis. Why COVID-19 has asymptomatic transmission? Why? SARS doesn't do that. Influenza doesn't do that. Any type of respiratory virus so far, except this COVID-19, doesn't have this. So that's what CNLs, as I mentioned, it not only can attack multiple organs in the human body, it's causing a high mortality rate. The high mortality rate counts, if you look at the top death reasons for this COVID-19, first of all, is of course difficulty in breathing, because your lung cells are significantly infected and the mucus couldn't come out. Basically, you died of short of breath, because your body oxygen level will also drop significantly, make it even harder to breathe. But some other thing that kills you is also the cytokine. Why cytokine storm? The possible reason, I don't want to say the reason because I don't want to make mistakes. My understanding is the T cell, either the thymocyte cells or another name I can't pronounce, lymphocyte cells, they're the messengers of your immune system. Once they met a virus, they're going to send a message to your immune system that, you're going to produce something, some antibody or whatever, or stimulate production of antibody to kill the virus. But because the COVID-19 actually can attack this T cell for something, interfere with it, just like HIV. So inhibit this T cell sending messages to other part of your body's system. And then when the system finally realized there are too many viruses, it's completely lose control and start to generate a bunch of other stuff and killing everything, not just virus and also your body cells. Your whole body will be destroyed eventually. So that's very, very, very bad. But why? Is there any reason? I actually was looking forward and I was searching for, try to understand it. Even I'm not in this field, but my curiosity drove me to understand why we do this. You probably heard about some possible rumors about the HIV. And what I'm showing here is not just rumors, it's scientific papers. So there's the first one, that's also published in early January. There's another bad thing of propaganda of CCP is they have control, like I mentioned in my previous video, everything, publication system. So initially, some scientists are still allowed to publish the results on this coronavirus. But after CCP figure out, oh, there's a lot of confidential information or secret or disclosed during this research, they immediately ban the production of any scientific report, scientific papers. It doesn't allow them to talk to public media. Only certain pre-approved people can talk to the media. So in this paper, they also mentioned that this COVID-19 is weird. It's different from a regular SARS virus. So what it does is that they said they found a possible mutation, but it's a very important mutation in the spike protein of this virus. By this mutation, the COVID-19 acquired a new cleavage site. The name is furin enzyme. I don't know exactly how it works, but the researchers said that this is not present in all other coronaviruses, except the mouse hepatitis coronavirus. So this one doesn't exist in any other previous coronavirus before, including SARS. Why it's mutated? In this paper, they didn't talk about the mutation's origin, whether it's natural or man-made, whatever, but they didn't talk about it. They just thought there exists a mutation, and this mutation may increase the efficiency of the virus infection into cells, making COVID-19 have significantly stronger transmissibility than the SARS. What does it mean? It's more transmissible, higher transmission rate, more infection rate, right? And we all know that this is the case. If you look at the transmission rate, the infection numbers, and death number, it increased in a much more rapid way. So let's read further. Because of this mutation, the packing mechanisms of COVID-19 may be changed to become more similar to those of MHV, which is the mouse hepatitis virus, HIV. Do you like the name? I don't like the name. Ebola. Do you like it? I don't think so. It's probably one of the most deadly viruses in this world. Why would the COVID-19 have a similarity in the packing mechanisms as these viruses? Why? Don't ask me. I don't know. I don't know how to make virus. I don't know how to manipulate the genes. I'm a scientist, but I'm not a biologist or a virologist. Ask some people who know this. Maybe these guys. So there was a very, very early days too. Early January, scientist group in IIT, India Institute of Technology, published also about the possible HIV segment in this coronavirus. So, but somehow they were forced to withdraw their papers. I don't know why, but I kind of trust them because there is another proof evidence later on. So they discover 4 unique inserts that is not existing in any other coronavirus reported till date. And surprisingly, they found that the short segment of the amino acids actually matches the HIV one. Huh. Okay. And this insertion is very unusual, and it's unlikely to be fortuitous. Fortuitous. Oh, I forgot how to pronounce it. Sorry. So, which means that it's not likely by a natural mutation. Not likely. You mean this COVID-19 is the son of regular coronavirus and HIV? Somehow they can marry each other and give a birth to this one? I don't know. Maybe. You know, it's possible. You could be hit by a thunder. People could be hit by thunder, and people can even Powerball. Maybe. This chance is, I think, just like winning a Powerball in a natural way, but you only throw the dice once. I mean, you just randomly buy one ticket. Boom. You win billions of dollars. Possible, but not very likely. And most recently, the French virologist, and who is also the Nobel Prize winner, who co-discovery of HIV, and Dr. Luc Montagnier. Sorry, I can't pronounce the French name. He told the media that the coronavirus could be manufactured and leaked from a Wuhan lab in China with HIV DNA. And you will see a lot of people trying to attack him. So, you're not the expert. You know nothing. You're almost retired. How do you know this? I'm like, attacking people with nonsense doesn't justify your conclusion. You gotta show your logical reasoning. And considering there is so many evidence that just simply personally attack somebody for his one flaw or something is not acceptable. It just, even he's a bad guy. He's the evil. He's the worst guy in this world. You gotta use a scientific evidence to debate with him. That's the law. I always follow common sense. That's the logical flow. You gotta follow that. So from all of these evidences, I don't want to admit, but sadly, the origin of this COVID-19 is probably not from a Wuhan wet market through a natural mutation way. There might be 0.0001% of chance, a bat somehow escaped from his hibernation in the wintertime and flew to Wuhan, the city. I don't know what is the chances of finding a bat in a big city, and somehow the virus is mutating his body, and he met another something with possible HIV infection, some animals, I don't know what kind of animal, and they mutate together and form this COVID-19, and then it mutate again, become a human transmissible, and then some poor guy, either the bat pee on him, or that guy somehow eat a raw uncooked bat. I don't know what's the chance. Somebody smarter than me can calculate. I don't know. You tell me what's the probability. So if that's not the case, and considering the CCP has the capability, they have a long history of studying this, and they're trying a lot of ways to cover up and lies. I'm like, if you're innocent, if you didn't file this crime, why did you need to hide? Just be transparent. Tell the people, I'm fearless because I didn't do it. I'm transparent. I'm totally free of responsibility. This is not part of my job. This is not related to me at all. You guys can get into the wet market. You guys can talk to any patient. You can talk to anybody in China. I'm fine, right? That's what you're supposed to do if you're really innocent. But, we know what happened. So, unfortunately, not just this. What is sad is that the CCP is an expert also in propaganda. You can see a lot of media, even scientists are significantly influenced, affected by the CCP's propaganda or their whatever they're trying to do. So we have to stay calm and use our common sense, critical thinking, logical reasoning. And if we really do that, the most likely conclusion will be that this COVID-19 is not naturally mutated. It probably, and very, very probably, it's from a recombination experiment in some lab, particularly CCP's lab, since the highest similarity virus was also discovered by you guys. And because of the weirdness of this virus, I guess nobody else would know more about this virus than CCP or someone in that lab. So to save more lives, I think this world urgently need an effective cure or vaccine, right? So the best strategies is go talk to them. Whoever made it, they probably got a cure. They maybe even got a vaccine. Or at least they know what kind of stuff is in this virus, because everybody else is just confused. Even, like I said, we don't have 100% direct evidence. It's very, very it's almost 100, 99.9%, but with this lack of that 0.1% of direct evidence, what kind of protein was inserted? Is that one from HIV? Is that the hepatitis or Ebola? Any other kind of things? Maybe more? We don't know. So without that, any kind of cure medicines as of right now, or the vaccines, may not work, because if you don't know this, how to design, of course there's some general rule you can follow, but in order to develop a targeted and effective ones, knowing the virus better would definitely help. So I strongly encourage people, some people, of course not me, nobody cares about my voice, talk to them, ask about them, ask them to share about the details, what exactly experiment was done. Okay, it's a tough one, but finally we did it. I'm glad I did it. But let's wrap up this video in a happy way. Actually, I should have shown this. I don't know why I had this idea, but I should have shown this to people. The best practice for COVID-19 and demonstrate, particularly by CCP President Xi. I'm really proud of that. We have such a good president and show us what is the best practice for COVID-19. Better than the other name I don't want to mention, because I'm not American. I don't want to judge their president. So keep social distancing. See, this is the WHO chair. I don't care what his name. I can't pronounce his name. Distance, social distancing, more than 6 feet. This is probably close to 10 feet, maybe even 10 feet, right? It's a good one. In public areas, avoid face-to-face meeting. Convert it to video meeting, conference calls. Avoid close contact with people. See? Perfect example. Wear face mask or face covering in US, if you're in US. Perfect example. And he even liked exercising, surprisingly. I didn't know that. In one of the video interview he said he can lift 100 kilograms and walk for at least 3 miles. Wow. Let's start doing that. And if I believe if we follow these practices demonstrated by President Xi, we should save more people and slow down the transmission of the coronavirus. So let's do the best practice and learn from the most powerful ever president, I believe, in this world. And thank you very much for your time. And sorry, it's a little bit long video, but finally we did it. And hopefully you enjoyed it. And then in the next video, I will make it shorter. I think the most critical ones, which is this one, I'm done with it. And the next one, I might jump into discussion going back to the concern about the status update in US, because I'm living in US. And we want to review what was done and what could be wrong, what could be right, how can we improve it, the pros and cons, and hopefully by end of this year, I think that's probably even a little bit optimal, we can win this battle. All right. Also, I want to share some songs. I haven't shared a song in my last few videos, but I'm not gonna explain why I shared this song, but it's one of my favorites. It's a song by band in Hong Kong called Beyond. I think a lot of Chinese is very familiar with it. And enjoy it, and I will see you next time. Thank you very much for your time, and stay safe, stay strong, take care of your family. Bye bye.
平生命，放下職員性，脱下制服，我哋都係香港人。
今天我寒夜裏看雪飄過，懷着冷卻了的心窩飄遠方。風雨裏追趕，霧裏分不清影蹤。天空海闊，你與我可會變？多少次？迎着冷眼與嘲笑，從沒有放棄過心中的理想。一剎那彷彿若有所失的感覺，不知不覺已變淡，心裏愛。原諒我這一生不羈放縱愛自由。也會怕有一天會跌倒，背棄了理想，誰人都可以。哪會怕有一天千里共我？
因為我有個朋友，而我覺得我必須要去，即係用我嘅身份，用你作為一個大人又好，作為一個公眾人物都好，去保護佢哋。
今天我寒夜裏看雪飄過，懷着冷卻了的心窩飄遠方。